Nickelodeon has been full of unexpected surprises lately, and their latest is a brand new sitcom. Does Drama Club put on a good performance, or should it be curtains for Nick's latest series? All the world's a stage, but let's review if this show deserves an encore. When promos started running a few weeks ago for the new Nick show Drama Club, which premiered on March 20th, I was caught fully off guard. It wasn't a show that had been teased at months prior, nor was it hidden away in an upfront or a PR announcement somewhere. Promos started running for it, and that was it. Those promos are for a mockumentary-style sitcom about a group of middle schoolers and their drama club, which always gets overlooked in favor of their school's beloved football team. The 10-episode series was produced by Viacom-CBS's digital vertical Awesomeness, nay TV, and with a name like Drama Club, it feels right at home with the teen drama or Six. But that's also why it feels so different compared to Nickelodeon series we've seen before. It's very clear that the series we've been seeing from Nick in 2020 and 2021, like Side Hustle and Ollie's Pack, are already markedly distinct from what we've seen from them in the 2010s. Drama Club continues that welcome trend, but before it can be compared so favorably, it first has to shine in its own performance at this new Nick talent show. Does it deliver? Let's find out. We're immediately transported to an intentionally middle-of-nowhere town called Tookus, Minnesota. Preparation H would be proud. In their middle school, football is king. But that's a story for when Peacock comes up with a Friday Night Lights reboot.
But this isn't the story of the football team. This is the story of the...
Drama Club! Drama Club! Does anyone want to join the drama? Ow.
And that's a pretty succinct description of what the Tookus Middle School Drama Club is dealing with. Over the next few minutes, we meet our characters, in multiple senses of the word: level-head Mac, excitable Darcy, finally noticed Skip, snooty lead Oliver, and influencer Bianca, as well as mentioning some other archetypal folks that we don't get confessional exposition on until later. It's all change at the Drama Club this year in advance of the truly awe-inspiring masterpiece, Minnesota, the musical. A new student director, Mac, a new co-star for Oliver, Bianca, and most hopefully, a new principal.
So who's the new principal?
Greg Gibbons. Just Googled him. Apparently he's a professional dance coach on Waltzing with the Stars.
The club's put on notice to be on top form to impress their new, apparently celebrity, principal at rehearsal. But their plans to wow him with a dance number quickly go awry, and they're sent looking for a new dance captain. Mac and Darcy are off to infiltrate the world of the popular athletic crowd on their search, and it might just lead them to somewhere very unexpected. And absolutely nothing turns out like you think it would. I came out of my first viewing of this show surprisingly disappointed. Despite technical and creative competency, which other networks have unfortunately taught us not to take for granted, the execution of the show fell awfully flat. I feel like I should have paid more attention to the promos, which in hindsight may have set that kind of bar appropriately, but given how well Nick's been doing with their content, the mediocrity of this show blindsided me. But that is what it is. Mediocre. Passable, but uninspiring and only vaguely interesting. It's not bad. Bad is a different kind of descriptor. It's bad at reaching comic aims to some extent, but it's not inherently bad as a show. Laughs were few and far between, and while one could argue that this is somewhat of a product of the mockumentary format, I've seen the mockumentary style executed better on other shows, both in and out of kids' TV. It doesn't do enough to make you laugh all that often, and it's not really clever enough conceptually to pull off the angle that, say, Parks and Recreation can go for. It's caught in the middle between being a ha show and a huh show, and it doesn't do enough to solidly classify itself as either. Props are in order to this show, however, for how it handles the positioning of the Drama Club, at least in this first episode. As I said before, it's immediately established that in this school, it's the Drama Club versus the popular crowd, the football players and the cheerleaders. The show sells the dispute by intentionally pushing both groups to some of their most stereotypical ends and then pulling back in from there in terms of exposition. Several of the folks in the Drama Club you'd probably unreservedly see as weirdos if they were in your school. Looking at you, Darcy and Curtis. And on the other side, the popular crowds are intentionally dehumanized and reduced to their basest tropes during the scenes in which we see them, even as we meet some of them. Megan, the cheer captain, and Bench, the one football player we get exposition for, sound exactly how you think they'd sound and act exactly how you think they'd act from just looking at them. This is a pretty clever way to go about things, as it gives the series more space to focus on the main cast without having to develop a slew of side characters who won't necessarily be regularly involved. Were they more characters than caricatures, they wouldn't have really been able to pull this off that well. At the same time, Drama Club selectively breaks some parts of these stereotypes to deliver a more diverse cast. I feel this is most exemplified in Megan, who, based on her appearance, you wouldn't necessarily expect to be here. Were they absolutely adhering to the stereotypes, she could have easily been played by anonymous blonde valley teen number 8, but they went an extra distance to not do that. I appreciate that, and I feel it deserves some credit. Amongst the Drama Club ensemble, the character concepts on their face are varied enough to potentially be very interesting. However, the writing and development so far doesn't really stretch these characters enough to really wring that sort of thing out of them. I feel like all that's Nathan Janak, who plays the club's aloof lead actor Oliver, has sort of been typecast here. He kind of does a similar affect when he's doing the cancelled with Nathan shticks on that sketch show. It fits, and that's likely why they did it, but it's something to keep an eye on in the big picture, I think.
I came to get down.
The music choices, to the extent that they exist here, sound typical for the kinds of tween and teen skewing series that Awesomeness usually produces, but it feels pretty out of place here as the show itself isn't slick enough or stylish enough where that sort of a music direction would necessarily fit. It doesn't really break anything, but it's a bit discordant to the visuals.
You will let this vacant stack of muscle join your little club because he forgot to sign up for what now?
An election.
An elective.
An elective.
An elective.
An infection.
I worry about you.
While it has plenty of pieces it could use to make an interesting series, Drama Club comes off as bland and uninspiring with its execution, given it doesn't really stretch its characters, its premise, or its world enough to make any of them instantly work. There is definitely promise here, and there is certainly room for development as the show continues, but I can't be sold on future promises. This is not a Cartoon Network storyboarding session, this is a Nickelodeon mockumentary sitcom, and I was hoping to see better from them given how they've consistently hit it out of the park with new series over the past 15 months. It is competent and creatively sound, but that's a baseline, not cause for celebration, and in action it just doesn't execute all that well. Perhaps it's time for Drama Club to bow out and bring down the curtains. While you're here, hit subscribe for more reviews and news stories from the world of television every single week. For a look at Awesomeness TV's usual fare, go check out my look back at when several of their shows aired on Teen Nick, up here or down in the description. I'm Benzie Johnson Jr., I'm enthusiastic about television, and I'll see you next time.